All right, I'll tell you a little story. It happened like in 2007. I never knew I had an irregular heartbeat, and when I went in for an EKG, my doctor said, you know, you have an irregular heartbeat. I'm going to send you to a cardiologist. And I was like, oh, I don't need to go to a cardiologist. My heart is strong. It's always been strong. So I go to the cardiologist, and he puts me on these blood pressure pills. And a little while later, years later, I was working at a pretty high stressful job and driving real quick. I never eat that, well, I did, but very rarely did I eat McDonald's. So I get a hamburger and a Coke, and I go back to my desk, and all of a sudden, I said, I'm not feeling well. And then I started getting pains up my arms, and then I started like sweating, and then I had like this radiating pain in the center here, and it got worse and worse. And then I called my coworker down the hall, and I said, listen, I don't feel good. I think you need to come here. I think I'm having a heart attack. And I'm seeing a cardiologist, and he started putting me on these heavy medications, and then it was one thing after another where he said, we have to do this procedure. We have to do that procedure. And the last straw was, he says, the next thing is gonna be pretty invasive. And I was like, oh my gosh, I do not want to go through that. I was on metoprolol, I think it's called, which is to control your blood pressure, and I was on a cholesterol pill. So anyway, the thing that really made me think that, you know, I got to change my lifestyle, I have to do something, is when I got on the scale and I was really heavy. And I said, that's it, I got to do something. And then I found you guys. I had a cardio conversion. That's where they shock you. They put you under, but they put the paddles on you. And then I had 2 catheters, a cardiac catheterization. And the last thing was he wanted to do something that was going to be more invasive. And that's when I just said, enough is enough. I got to do something. I don't know what it is, but I got to do something. Then I found you guys on. Okay, how much I've lost?
How much you've lost, yeah.
I think it's like 35, 36 pounds.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
good.
Well, I had some really great news. I went back to my cardiologist about 3 weeks ago, and he was totally shocked when he saw me, because he hadn't seen me in about 2 months, and maybe a little longer. And I'm sitting there waiting for him forever, and then he walks in the room, and he was like, oh my God, what, Sharon, I can't believe you. What did you do? And he says, stand up. Walk over here, let me see you. And then he just gave me a big bear hug, and he was like, wow, you just look great. Whatever you're doing, he says, that's great. Then he gave me an EKG, and he says, you don't have any AFib right now. And I said, that's good. And I have a heart monitor. I forgot to mention that was one of the procedures. He put in a loop. It's a heart monitor that you can upload once a month, and it goes directly to him, and they read your history for the last month. So he did that, and he says, you know, you haven't had any AFib since like February something. Then he suggested that I have a complete blood panel workup. So he says, and I want to see you a week later. I had that done, and I went back to him, and he was just like scratching his head. He goes, I don't believe this. And it was like 3 pages long. I think they took out 6 vials of blood. So, I mean, they did everything that you can think of. And he said, he's just shaking his head and looking at this report. He says, your cholesterol's 149, your kidneys are perfect, your liver's functioning perfect. And he went down the list, And I said, okay, great, good. It was over 200. It was like 225 or 250, somewhere around there.
And what is it now?
149.
149. Awesome, awesome. Great.
Definitely.
Do it? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, awesome. All right.